Good morning. This is an appreciation of this new era of Detroit Lions, highlighting the 2024 Detroit Lions in making history. I'm 57 years old, and like many long time Detroit Lions fans, have cheered this team on in through many years, been the laughing stock of the NFL. And when the Chicago Cubs won the World Series a few years ago, it gave us hope in one sense that, hey, there might be one day, but there wasn't really no set plan. Over in that corner of this is when I was in the military. I served in the Michigan National Guard, then went full time. Handsome dog, huh? Anyways, the you know the normal routine that we would do on a Sunday when growing up, we cut wood, go to church um, on the bus once in a while. We cut wood. My mom would make a salad. We have lunch. We eat at the table, watch the Lions. And there's a lot of frustrating days, of course, but we watched them every single time, every game. And this year's, oh man, these guys are something else. And the brilliancy of, first of all, we got to give credit where credit starts, and that's with Sheila Hemp. She knew what we had with Matt Patricia, and Quinn was like nowhere close to working. Got rid of them. Brought in Chris Spielman. You know what a good boss does, and she is a great boss, is utilize the strength of others. She has the passion and the commitment to bring home a winner for Detroit as much as any one of us fans has. She has that. But she also knows that she's limited in running a team. You have some owners that intervene with every aspect of football operations. And Jerry Jones, part of America's team. To me, America's team was when Tom Landry was their coach, and they won some Super Bowls afterwards. But Sheila understood that she needs to get somebody in that lives and breathes football and knows personnel. She brought in Chris Spielman. Then they brought in Dan Campbell. Then they brought in Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is the genius here. Along that also they all collaborate with each other, and I wouldn't be surprised as we go along in this tradition. You know how the Patriots have had winning ways for a long ways with Tom Brady and Belichick and Kraft all working together, that they don't start implementing the input of Panay Sewell, Jared Goff, on making these decisions further on. Uh, and they probably already do, but man, Brad Holmes has stepped up, drafted Panay Sewell. I mean, we just, in a short time, it is nothing less than incredible on how he and the Lions, he being Brad Holmes, and the Lions have built this team. All the guys that they have drafted or added to this team have a few things in common. First of all, they are flat out ball hawks on defense, or flat out super talented and uh, just great football players on offense. with amazing talent. Look at Jamison Williams. Then there's this underlying element that they keep adding to this team, and that is great character guys. Each one of these guys, when you listen to them talk to the media, they're allowed to be themselves, and their selves are great character. They're humble, but they're confident. There's a difference between arrogant that sets themselves up for a fall and opposed to somebody confident. They gain confidence because they're playing for each other, and that leadership from Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes is mind boggling. And Ben Johnson, um, and Aaron Glenn. I'm starting with Ben Johnson because he's been sought after so badly for head coaching, and hats off to him for staying. And here's my pitch: there's no salary cap in coaching. Let's just, I don't know if we're going to run the table, we want one Super Bowl, and hopefully that is this year. If you go back to the San Francisco game, it's 24-7 at halftime. This is new territory for us. Winning against our first playoff foe, Matthew Stafford, who came in with a Super Bowl cloud about him with the Rams, come into Detroit. That was, to me, that felt like a Super Bowl for us because I haven't seen a win since 1991, and that was such a long time ago. And then we lost the very next week, but we took on that. And when we got to that new territory of playing San Francisco, I'm yelling, kick a field goal in the second half. We're up 24-7. They took 4 or 5 minutes at least to 49ers took 4 to 5 minutes to score a field goal. And then we marched down and get in somewhat field goal range, I thought. And at 4th and 7, it's a 54-yard field goal attempt, or you go for it on 4th and 7. I'm yelling, kick a field goal, because if you kick a field goal, you demoralize the chances of the 49ers. You kind of shoot them in the heart a little bit that, hey, over 9 minutes of the quarter is gone and we're no closer than we started. Big momentum, right? I did not know what the coaches knew, that Michael Badgley, our kicker then, was 4 for 20 at that distance of 54 yards or further. So we go for it in 4th and 7. We failed, and everything kind of unraveled at that point. But now we've added a kicker. So we've grown and matured, and we've had one loss with Tampa Bay. We could have won that. We could have also lost some other games, the Texans, for example. But man, this Lions team, in a short 2 years and a game, I mean, if you look at actually the last 3, we're in our 3rd year of this moving on up like the Jeffersons. We barely missed the playoffs, and we beat Green Bay in Green Bay. Then we had last year. We won our first division in a long time. Got the NFC Championship, and at halftime, for the first time in my life, Super Bowl was a very, very strong possibility. We didn't make it. But much like the Detroit Pistons took one step at a time, I mean, they would love to have won a championship 3 years before they won their first championship. But as each year there was some failures, they improved and learned from those. And that's what this Detroit Lions is doing. They're not overlooking anybody. They know that if you're up 24-7, the worst thing you could do is play passive from that point on and just play the score. Keep the foot on the pedal. The Detroit Lions have been accused by some people by being tasteless for running up the score. No, you can't come back if we're constantly scoring touchdowns. That's keeping their offense off the field. You don't accept run, punt. Don't accept it. When you have all the weapons we have, you keep your foot on the pedal. And if you have to win a Super Bowl going to winning 73-8 or 10 or 14 or what have you, you do it. Don't let up. Uh, Tom Brady showed that you can be down. You can have a team down 28-3, three quarter with about 4 minutes to go in the third quarter and lose a game because and I watched that game. I don't think Atlanta did a whole lot wrong in a sense. They were trying, but the Patriots actually when they were down 28-3, they actually did a trick play. They like, we got this. We're not concerned. I mean, we know we can come back. But and the Lions have that same capability. They part of their lesson from the 49ers last year's loss was when they played the Texans. They were down at halftime almost the same. It was almost the same situation reversed, and they knew that, hey, if 49ers can do it, we can do it, and this is our growth. And there's probably more confidence and more gained from that comeback win than any of our blowout wins. But if you got a team, and I'm going to go back to when Brett Favre was with the Minnesota Vikings, and they were scoring a lot of touchdowns at the end against Dallas in the playoffs. And one of their linebackers, I forget his name, but came over and kind of charged at Favre because he just threw a touchdown thing. Now I'm playing fantasy football. I had Shineco um, for a tight end, so I was happy he did that. And I'm trying to remember that linebacker's name, but he came after he came after the fight, Favre, and Troy Aikman, winner of 3 Super Bowls, was the announcer, and I love him as an announcer. He's awesome. He says, if you don't like it, stop it. But the gratitude that us old Lions fans have should be off the charts for this team. And I have learned in the last 2 years, when we're going to the draft. Of course, we're all experts here. The fans were saying, "Oh, you need to draft this, this, and this, and this." Nobody can show me before the draft that they would have drafted everybody Brad Holmes has drafted, and there's not one pick that he has made that looks bad. I'm going to go back to building our character. These players. There's a guy named DeAndre Swift that obviously he's had some success after he left. But while he was here, he had some talent, but he didn't have this right here. He seemed like he was wanting to take care of himself more than do everything he can do for the team. And there's a lot of stuff that we'll never know, probably that you see in practice that indicate that. But from what I saw in the game, he was in and out of the games all the time, injured, and just looked like he didn't play through some things. And I just didn't get a feeling that he was the answer. And part of drafting Jahmyr Gibbs and getting David Montgomery, was to build a running back tandem that is in tune with the heart of the Detroit Lions, these new Detroit Lions. And these guys, in the back of our mind, us old Lions fans, in certain situations, we've had some doubts here and there, but you know what? This team is erasing those. And we don't want to go be uh, irrational fans, but this is the best team that the Detroit Lions have had by a long shot. And it's not to discredit any of the efforts of the other teams and players before, but there's never been a collection of front office, starting with Sheila, all the way down, making the right decisions. And this team has the the culture, the atmosphere around it. There's a couple other teams that have a really good atmosphere too. The Buffalo Bills seem to be having fun, but there is nobody, and I'm convinced of this. There's no other team that empowers their players to be great at every level, spiritually, physically, and more as importantly for the game of football, puts them in the best spot to win football, to come through and make plays. Armand St. Brown, what a pick. What a pick. The dude just don't drop anything. He's amazing. And if you what's really cool is you get people like Golden Tate who unfortunately it seemed like anybody that had uh, a mind to speak against Patricia or Quinn or to speak up and know something, know things aren't right with the team, they were shipped out. Quandre Diggs, Darius Slay. If you were good and you had, it was, it was just there was no chemistry whatsoever from the top office down to through the coaches and that, and it was when your coach is always late, is what we heard from veterans in Patricia, and he's out of shape like he is. How, how's that guy getting through to people? You know, he was very disrespectful from what we've been told and whatnot. And but this Dan Campbell looks like he could suit up and play a few plays, doesn't he? And what's really cool is Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, um, Lomas Brown is up in the broadcast booth with Dan Miller, who man, I wish I could listen to Dan Miller every game. Matter of fact, I probably need to. Uh, Tom Brady announces a lot of the games. He's really good, but I love Dan Miller's and his whole team's announcing. They're as good as it gets in football, and everything about this team. And you got guys that used to play for the Lions, like Golden Tate, that are just at all with this team. And they're back of their mind, they wish that this they were playing during this time. And Barry Sanders is the same way. And we've got something that we need to treasure this and hold on to it as long as we can. Hopefully, Dan Campbell stays here a long time and builds a 5-10 year uh, or at least sets things up for another coach to carry on 5-10 years and counting. A dynasty in a sense can be made here. And if Ben Johnson wants to stay here, I don't know if he can get, if we're winning the Super Bowls, I don't know if the title of a head coach where they come and go all the time is that important to him as opposed to leading an offense. And he's going to get credit. He's getting credit for being a genius. He could stay right here in Detroit and help us win multiple Super Bowls. And Aaron Glenn the same. Aaron Glenn took a lot of heat. It's all about personnel too. We've drafted a lot of offensive guys, a few defensive guys, obviously, but I think we've drafted more offensive guys than defensive guys. And now that we have our offense the way we are, don't be surprised keep adding some offensive guys, front line, keep them fresh, a big picture, and if we got a chance at a good defensive guy, we'll grab them. But man, Carlton Davis is playing his heart out, and life is good as a Lions fan, is it not? Don't you think? Yeah, she's a little lion. Yeah, look at her. This right here is Maribel, and Monday she got out that door over here, and not this house, but the next house over is being remodeled, and it was gutted out, and it was really cold Monday, Tuesday, and I kept the door open, and she never came back, and I was kind of sad. I'm not kind of sad. I was really sad, but I kept going to work, kept leaving the door, even though it was really cold, bundled up, just kind of kept the door open. Hopefully, she came back, and then it got a little warmer 3 nights ago, 2 nights ago, and I went walking down. First of all, I said a prayer and prayed specifically, deeply about all the reasons why, if I could get her back, I would. And about 150 feet from where I sit right here, I'm walking. I got a little cat toy up here, and I go, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty," and I heard her meow, and I'm like, "That's her." Then I saw her up in the window, and there was police just down the road talking to each other, and I didn't want to go in there, and it was dark. I didn't want to start going around there and thinking I'm breaking in the house. So I thought for sure that they would come and just kind of watch me get her out through a window or whatever. It's a remodeling house, and I thought there's probably something open. But they said, no, that's trespassing. So I waited till the next morning. After waiting there for a few hours, it was like a quarter after 8. I called this construction sign that was 2 houses down the head of the office. I asked, thinking that they may be working on this. So I called and they said, no, we're not working on it. But the guy that owns it has a real estate sign um, a couple blocks over. So I went and got that number, called him. He said the back door is open, grabbed her. She gave me this little nick in the nose, gave me a little, like, hey, why didn't you get me last night? But she's got the heart of a lion. Are you heart? You got a heart of a lion? Come on over here. Come on, you little crazy kitty. Come on, kitty. Come on. She's ready to pounce. That's what the Detroit Lions do. They pounce, and it'd be kind of cool if we got a. We had real lions before. Whoa, there she is. There's that little lion. That's that little fighter. Yeah, she's a good kitty. Say hi to Mayor Bell. Yep. You a good kitty. Oh, she's a Bengal calico is what somebody when I posted her on Facebook. Ouch. Yeah, she soft pawed me that one, but she let me know she wanted to be home to be the night before. So, anyways, well, you have a great day, and man, these lions are just they're fun to watch. They're incredible to watch, and if they have a setback, folks, it's not same old lions. Uh, we've got one loss, so we don't have the pressure of a perfect season. Miami Dolphins of 72. You can rest easy. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have one going on either. And, you know, hats off to the Kansas City Chiefs. What makes them so tough? They may get beaten and not make it to the Super Bowl, but just understand this that they've got a lot of experience. The Lions have a lot more experience than they did last year, which is going to make them more prone to be successful. And they have as good as chance as anybody of winning the Super Bowl this year. You can hope that before, but you couldn't, with all your heart and soul, understand or believe that that was a true possibility back then. You can today. And it'd be so good for the city of Detroit, be so good for all the Lions fans. You know, when Matthew Stafford came to Ford Field last year in the playoffs and he stumbled during a play, my dad has passed away about 6, 7 years ago. Lifelong Lions fan himself. I'm thinking he's up there. He's like, "Okay, Stafford, you didn't give us any playoff wins. There you go." Anyways, he just tripped for no reason. So that's just a little fun commentary there. But for all the Lions fans that have passed, you know, this Super Bowl could be for you too. I don't want it to be called a Lombardi Trophy anymore. Brady won more than Lombardi, so let's make a different name for it. I don't want anything to do with the Green Bay Packers other than beating them. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much.